Okay, great. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Webinar 3. In this webinar, we're going to talk about mobile responsive websites. The reason why I chose to do this topic, my initial choice of topic for Webinar 3 was to touch on things like StudioPress themes and how they can work with Beaver. I think that was what Ying actually requested for. I have a stopgap video at the moment, a short video that you can use first for the time being for that particular topic. There are a lot of things to discuss for that topic as well, but I chose to talk about this eventually rather than talk about StudioPress because I think this is a real issue that you will face if you are going into the web design business. Okay, this issue is an issue that I think will plague some of you. The faster ones among you will learn how to solve it on your own, but even if you learn to solve it on your own, it may take time. But for some of you, you might find that, basically you might be totally lost if such things were to happen to you. Okay, why am I talking about it in this way? Very simple. I deliver a website myself. Okay, I think as some of you know, okay, basically I don't build websites for people, but I lease out my websites. So the latest website that I leased out basically is a funeral website. You'll get to see it in a while's time. When I leased out that website, initially, the original tenant, after a while, didn't pay me. So I had to basically, in a way, I call them tenants because this is my website. I own the website, I own the domain, I own the content. So they are sitting on my website. But the trouble is that when he didn't pay me, then it's time to perhaps take him off the website and put in another person who's willing to pay. So that was what exactly happened. Now, the problem here is that when I did that, I have to reformat the whole website. I have to change all the contents. And to me, it was a good opportunity for me to switch that website over to Beaver Theme. And that was what I did. So there was a cutoff period, basically in September. At that cutoff period, the website had to be live with the new tenant. In other words, I'm the landlord. I have to have a live website with that new tenant. And basically, I deliver a website on that day itself at about 3 a.m. in the morning. Everything is done, everything submitted. So that was good. I sent a message to my new client and tell him, by the way, your website is live. Do go and take a look at it. Now at 3 a.m., when a person, if he's still awake, takes a look at the website, he's unlikely to switch on his desktop. He didn't. He used his mobile phone. And then he realized that while the website looked very nice previously when we met, I showed him we met at up to on that day at 11 p.m. So 11 p.m. we met. I think I left at 12 and the website was live at 3 a.m. So we met at about 11 p.m. I came home, I left the website about 3 a.m. So basically at 11 to 12, that time when we were having our meeting, he basically only saw the desktop version, and the desktop version was beautiful. The desktop version was perfect. At 3 a.m. when I asked him I said, your website is live, please take a look at it. I suppose it's very unlikely that you'll see him jump into his laptop, switch on his laptop to take a look. So apparently what he did was he used his mobile phone to take a look at the website. And basically when he used his mobile phone, everything went out of alignment. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. Okay, I'm not going to touch the live website because it's not good practice to touch a live website. But what I did was I cloned that live website into my local host so that I can play with it for you all to see. So I'm going to show you that website now. Okay, basically, okay, this is Awesome Sites. This is the real Awesome Sites. Let me log out of it. With Safari. I don't think we need Safari. Let's go to this website. Okay, this is at the moment my webinar demo. It's on localhost. But as you can see, I'm going to scroll down on desktop. It looks pretty. I won't say nice because I think when it comes to color coordination and things like that, there are a lot of you who are better than me. Like for example, I love Anita's color coordination, for example. Yeah, I won't say it's nice, but at least everything is aligned. Everything is aligned. Everything is, at least to my own standards, I'll say beautiful. Okay, but guess what? When you scroll and resize the website, okay, let's see what happens. First to the top section. Can you see? The word Singapore all of a sudden disappears. That's the first thing that happens. Okay, let's go lower down and see what else happens to your images. It was beautiful, but as you scroll, somehow you can see that the photos didn't resize, and the photos eventually were larger than the placement box itself. It became very ugly. So everything eventually became out of alignment, and here you see the photo is not large enough to fill up the box. So I had all these issues at about 3 a.m. in the morning. Okay, this could happen to you. The key thing is, how then do you solve it? So basically, it happened to me only recently, so it's fresh on my mind. Okay, and basically, I thought, therefore, it's a good time for me to talk about mobile responsive website. Okay, so basically, I built this website. I leased out to a tenant. The original tenant left. It used to be built on DVT. Okay, and basically, I migrated it over to Beaver. Everything looks fantastic. I've always made this comment. Whatever you do, whatever you publish, you should check on all screen sizes. Okay, the trouble is, basically, I didn't do it. So I didn't follow my own advice, and then I got into trouble. Okay, so to check for screen sizes, there are many ways. You can even use MicroTeamer. If I had done it, I would know, something is wrong. If I use MicroTeamer, I come all the way to the gear at the end. All the various devices that you can see, the sizes are here. So I can see, for example, on iPhone 4, sorry, what it looks like if I want to. Okay, it's loading now, and you'll see in every screen size other than the full desktop version, the website was out of alignment. Okay, so that was something is wrong. Okay, never mind. It's okay now. So if I were to show you, example, you'll see it's out. If I had checked, all the images are out of sync. So I didn't check, okay? But at least, it's one thing that happens to you. If it ever happens, are you able to fix it? I think that's the important thing. If something happens, can you fix it or not? That's what we are talking about today. Okay, so that's the reason and motivation behind basically why I decide to do this webinar, because it's a real life situation. It's about client delivery. It's about delivering the website. Okay, unfortunately, in my case, there were some issues, but the good thing is I had understanding client. There were no issues. I fixed it pretty fast, and you see the way to fix it is pretty fast, but provided you know how. So if you don't know how, it might take forever. It might be that from 3 a.m. to 3 p.m., you'll still be working on it. Okay, so that gives you the background of why I'm talking about this subject today. Okay, if there are any issues anywhere, just type, stop me. Okay, stop me. I think I'll use this mode so that if somebody types, I believe that it will pop up here and I'll know that there is a question. Okay, if there's no question, let's move on. So let's look at best practices now. The best practices when you want to do mobile, you want to cater to mobile responsive website. Okay, at least what I normally follow is still to begin with desktop view. By desktop view, I simply mean to begin with this view. So this is the right view to begin with. Okay, there's nothing wrong with beginning in desktop view. Okay, but the thing is that I've always been saying also in class, you should check against all browser types and you should check against all screen sizes. Okay, so that is very important. Check against all browser type, check against all screen sizes. How can you check against all screen sizes? Example, if I want to check how it looks like in Apple 5, I check. If I want to see how it looks like in, for example, iPhone 6, I check. I can see how it looks like in maybe iPad. I check. So at least the major screens I should be looking. And you see in this case, everything is wrong. So you need to check, and once you check, you will know that something is wrong. Okay, so in other words, number one, begin with desktop. At least on desktop, it has to look perfect before you go to the next step. Check against all browser types at desktop view to see if it's all perfect. And thereafter, check against all screen sizes. Okay, so that's the best practice. And if you go through this step, you will never find yourself in a position where I am at 3 a.m. in the morning where I had to try and fix it. That's the worst time to have to try and fix something. Okay, there is a shortcut. Example, if I'm using Ultimate Add-on or Power Pack, and that's what I did for this website. I use Power Pack. And I use Power Pack to create this portion here. So I would have known if I had basically played with the module. So in other words, you should always, if you are using a module from Ultimate Add-on or Power Pack, play with the demo of that module first. If I had done that, I would also have known that something is wrong. So for example, how would I check? I'll go to modules. The module that I use to create that was Infobox. Okay, so basically if I had checked Infobox, okay, if I were to resize this is basically like what I did. There's a photo here and some words. If I were to resize this, you'll notice that the photo actually went out of alignment already. Can you see? Complete care is here, but the photo is out of alignment. The photo did not resize. And because it did not resize, it cannot fit. While it fit nicely in the desktop view. So in other words, if I had done this, I would have known. If I have known, basically, I would not also be caught in that situation. Okay, so that's what I said. If you are playing with a module from any of this, whether it's Ultimate Add-on or Power Pack, there are so many of all these modules. They give you a demo. The demo is already laid out nicely already. Go and check. Go and check the demo to make sure that it resizes properly and that it is mobile responsive. Okay, so that's the first thing that perhaps I would do. And then if it's not, make a decision. Assuming after you check, you realize, oh, this is not mobile responsive. Like in this case, it didn't resize. Okay, it basically didn't resize. The photos in the end became out of alignment. Example, the photo became out of alignment. Then you make a decision. Do you want to use this module? If you still want to use this module, at least you know at this stage that you need to do something about it after you set it up. Okay. Alternatively, you can say, okay, in that case, maybe I avoid this module. I'll use something else. Either way is fine. Okay, so the first thing I'll do really is to play with the demo module. Okay, there are two options when it comes to doing mobile responsive websites. The first one is using Beaver itself, and the second one is using CSS. CSS is your cascading style sheet. When I say use CSS, basically what I mean is simply use MicroThemer. I say again, when I say use CSS, what I mean is use MicroThemer, because MicroThemer literally restyles your CSS. It makes it easy for you. The alternative way is to follow what I demonstrated in class, meaning to say, use inspect element in Chrome, inspect the element, and then manually change the CSS. It's a bit tougher. So normally, even for myself, rather than to do manual, writing, I rather use something like MicroThemer. So, and that's what I did on that night itself. And thank goodness I had MicroThemer, because if I didn't have it, maybe up to 6 a.m. in the morning, I'll still be trying to write codes in order to salvage the website. So the two options is to use Beaver, because some aspect of it can be solved within Beaver itself, and I'll show you what they are. And some that cannot be solved with Beaver, you have to resort to CSS. And the best way to resort to with CSS is MicroThemer. Okay, any questions, please? As long as I don't see anybody asking questions, I'll continue again. Now, with Beaver, these are the things to take note of. These are things to take note of. Visibility option, breakpoint, and stacking order. What it is, not to worry. I'll show it in a demo. Okay, all this will be demonstrated to you as I fix the site. Okay, if you go to the live site now, you'll see that everything is fixed already. Of course, it is already. But basically, I just happen to have, because I built on localhost first, I migrated to the live environment. And so I had a backup copy, which I basically reinstalled back to my localhost in order to do today's demonstration. So what you have to do is look for visibility options. Okay, understand what is breakpoint and understand stacking order. Okay, so let's talk about the CSS concepts as well. The CSS concepts you have to ensure is that basically you need to play with dimensions. Dimensions will ensure that everything fits nicely. Okay, and when I show you a demo, you'll see exactly what I mean. But at the same time, even if it fits nicely, it doesn't mean it looks aesthetically pleasing. So you have to worry about breakpoints as well. Okay, again, foreign to you, never mind. Okay, I'll do the demo and I'll re-reference back to these slides. Okay, I just want to cover all this first. And the other thing that is very, very important, at this stage is that if you are making major changes to a website, especially a live website, you should always use a staging environment. Meaning to say, if you have a local host, you can start building on localhost first. After localhost, you should still go to live staging and check on the live staging environment whether your website is working, because in rare occasions, you'll see that it works perfectly on your local host, but it does not work in the live environment. And what if you sign a contract and the contract says you need to deliver the website on 1st of October. You build it until 31st on localhost, it looks beautiful, everything is working, and then you go from localhost straight to live and you see that the site basically broke down. It didn't work. At the last minute, to do all this fact find, you panic. Okay, so it's always good to give yourself some days of buffer from localhost, go to the live staging environment. If you do not know how to create a live staging environment, the video on how to create a live staging environment is already in your basically video lesson area. So go and watch that video. I already created a video on how to create a live staging environment. If you don't have localhost, build on a live staging environment. The good thing about the live staging environment is that the live staging environment should be the same web hosting account that you are using for your actual live site. So if it works on that live staging environment, on that hosting account, chances are when you migrate it live, it will work. Okay, so a word of caution here also, okay, about localhost not working when it goes on live. Okay, some of the students have already experienced it. Jackson was telling me, reminding me to remind all of you all, if you are using local by Flywheel, if you don't choose Apache, you choose the default, which is this, and go. Okay. You build your website very nicely, then you migrate eventually to a cPanel environment that normally runs on Apache. Sometimes you'll see that the site totally breaks down. The restore is not successful, and then you have a big problem. Okay, so the thing about it is that you can use a local host, but make sure your site setting is right. I like to set my PHP, I mentioned previously, I don't know whether you all remember, to 5.6 rather than 7. They let you go up to 7 because 5.6 is compatible with most plugins, most themes, with most software. And because most of the time I'm using cPanel, I set it to Apache. Okay, and my SQL version, I just use 5.5. So if you set it wrongly, you may see a situation whereby when you want to migrate from localhost to live, it doesn't work. And therefore, I'm saying that you will know it early if you follow this sequence. Live, localhost to live staging environment, and then live website. Okay, so that's what you should be doing if you are doing professional web design for your clients. Because if you are just building your own websites, then it doesn't matter. If it doesn't work today, and it's too late, just go and sleep. Tomorrow when wake up, continue work on it. That's about it. Okay, but when you have a contract to deliver a website by a certain date, you need to take it seriously. Okay, so for any major changes, I will use localhost if I have. If not, I will build in the live staging environment when everything's perfect before I migrate to the live site. That includes sites that are already live. Meaning to say, for a site that is already live, I will do a backup of that website and I will migrate it to the local host or to my staging environment. Okay, and then make this major change first and then port the website back to live. That's what I would do. That's the safest way. Okay, don't try to make major changes on a live website itself, because if you break the site and you forgot to take a backup, you'll find that basically you will panic at that time. Okay, and that leads to the next point. Always have a backup before proceeding. I say again, before you do any major change, you know that you're going to do a major change at this point in time, click the backup button first. Back up the website first, and once everything is backed up, once you are satisfied, once you are happy that everything is already backed up, then proceed to basically do your changes. Okay, so bottom line is this very important. Also, so in other words, I'll do a backup. I'm also going to bring that site to localhost. I finish it. I do it at live staging environment. Before I bring it live to my live website, even from the staging environment, I'll take another backup of this live website. In case, for whatever reason, when I migrate from live staging to live website, my website breaks. Okay, so these are, I would say, best practices. These are things that you should follow if you want to do web design business. You want to do a web design business, you want to do it professionally, and you want to do it in a stress-free manner, a manner that doesn't give you any stress. Okay, having said all that, enough of saying, demo time. Okay, so let's look at this, basically slides again, which I said, using Beaver and using CSS. Okay, in Beaver, these are what is important. Visibility, breaking point, stacking order. Okay, so let's look at these three things because it's easier for me to show it to you using a demo. Okay, I don't need this now. Let's take it away. Okay, this is my website. I'm going back to storefront. Let's say If I want to fix this problem that I have, I'm not using MicroTeamer. I realize when I check, I have a problem with my alignment the moment I resize it. Okay, what do you do? Number one, go to your page builder. I think that part everyone knows. Number two, in your page builder, duplicate the module. So now I have two different modules. Okay, why did I say visibility option? In every module, if I click the spanner, I can go to the advanced tab of Beaver. Beaver has an advanced tab. In the advanced tab, I look for the visibility option. That's what I mean. In the display, under visibility option, yeah, actually it's not visibility option, my mistake. Visibility option, by the way, since we are here, I can basically, what is it for since we are here? Times when you have a membership website, for example, and you don't want to display a content, you can choose visibility only for logged in users. So anyone from public who is not logged in will not be able to see. Okay, always means log in and log out can see. So that's the visibility option, sorry. It's responsive option. Okay, under responsive option, you click the drop down. For this module, I can choose large device only. Or perhaps I can even choose large and medium device. And I click save. So under responsive option. Okay. And then for the module below, what I can literally do is I choose small device only. Okay, let it set up first. It's a bit slow now. Yes. Under advanced option, I choose responsive to show only for small device only. Let's say, for example, if I were to do that and then click save. Okay. So in other words, if I put publish changes, even though I have two modules now, I have two modules now, for example. When I go to the public view, which is basically the front end view, which is now, if I click done and publish changes, even though I have two modules, you will see that at desktop, you'll be only able to see one module. And the module that you are able to see is literally the module that is supposed to display when the screen type is a desktop or basically a medium device like a laptop, like a iPad, for example. But the moment the screen reaches small device like an iPhone, it reverts to the second module that is supposed to display for the small device type. Okay, so basically, what will happen subsequently, as you can see, even though I have two modules, in the background you can already see, okay, once the publish changes take effect, one module will disappear. And only the top module, which is for the large screen, will appear. Now, having said that, when I resize, you will see that to a small screen, you'll see that also in this instance, you will also see only one module. In this case, it is the bottom module that you will see. So what I'll be doing if I'm taking this approach is I will make the fonts Just nice for large and medium-sized devices using my top module. And I'll use the smaller fonts to make it nice for the small device using the smaller module. Okay, so basically the top module, I say again, I will use it and I'll style everything for large to medium-sized device. And the bottom module, which you see here now, I will style it. But I will style it for, okay, I'll style it as well, but I will style it for basically the handphone. In other words, all these fonts that you see in the background, I'll just make it smaller. That's about it. That's what I will be doing. Okay, so having said that, since it is not working very well, I believe sometimes it happens. Okay, it's here now. Can you see? Even though I have two modules, now that it's done, one module disappeared. Okay, it's not shown. The one that is shown is for the large device. Okay, when I basically style it to small, you'll see basically this words change to cater to the smaller screen. Why? Because this is a text module from Beaver itself. So Beaver's text module immediately cater to the smaller screen. Okay, but of course I can use micro themer, or I can basically use CSS and change this to white. Okay, so I'll show it to you all again. Big screen, bigger font. Smaller screen, smaller font. They happen immediately. Okay, why didn't it happen for the title? Because the title I didn't use one of the modules from Beaver. Instead, I use, I think, a module from Ultimate Add-on. Okay, so how do I basically work on this module for Ultimate Add-on? Just give me a second. Let me use another browser because I think, let me use Firefox and see whether it's faster or not. Let's try. Okay, let's see whether it works. Okay. So let's go back to my home page again. Yes, it's now much faster. But why am I on? I'm logged in. Okay. Pages, all pages. Home page, page builder. Let's go back to the page builder. Let's try it on this browser. Yes, great. Okay, I have two modules here. So what I'm going to do now is basically style this. Okay, for this particular add-on, it's not from Beaver. It's called Dual Color Heading. I chose it because I want two colors in my heading, and I thought it was fanciful. Okay, so basically, to use this module, I can choose responsive compatibility. Instead of none, I can put for small device, and I put save. So in other words, for small device, it will take note and become compatible. I'm going to show you what happens then if I publish change. refresh. Okay, when I resize, okay, for small device, it's now a small device. Okay, but I can't resize more in this, so I'll use microteamer to resize to even smaller. Okay, let it load. And you'll see this concept, which I'm trying to explain. Okay. In other words, by choosing responsive, the font didn't change. It basically made Funeral Services Singapore fall into 3 lines. Whereas this font changed. This font catered for the smaller screen, and it changed to become smaller. Okay, so eventually, aesthetically, it doesn't look that nice because you want, for example, to have your 2 fonts corresponding. You don't want to have this one small, but this one remain large and fall into 3 lines. At least I feel that it's not aesthetically pleasing. And that's what I meant when I actually said, no, at the end of the day, okay, you can use dimensions to ensure that it fits. Now it fits. It fits very nicely, but it's not nice. So you need to take note of breakpoint. So what is breakpoint is the next thing that I'm going to explain now. Okay, in this case, these 3 letters or words, Funeral Services Singapore, didn't resize. It just fall into 3 lines to fit into the smallest screen possible. Okay, is this a solution? It is still a solution. Is it good? It's still okay. Okay, so if I'm using this as an option, okay, especially at 3 a.m. in the morning, the fastest thing I'll do is I'll take this guy and I'll color this white. That's all. Okay, that's the first thing I'll do is I'll color it white. If not, I have to go to the Beaver theme setting and change this white. So this is much faster for me. Okay, so that's why I always use microteamer. That's the first thing I'll do. Okay, the second thing I'll do basically is I'll go to the page builder. Exit microteamer first. Go to page builder. Go to this smaller one. Okay, and change the setting. So if it's a module native to Beaver Builder itself, the breakpoints are already set. For this particular module, dual color heading is not from Beaver. I can't remember whether it's from Ultimate add-on or from Power Pack. I believe it's from Ultimate add-on. I can't remember. You have to check. But basically, there's typography. And they give you 3 screen sizes for you to choose. There's the desktop, there's the medium device, and the small device. So I can change from 48, but perhaps to medium device 38. Or I think the medium device still fits nicely, I don't. But maybe small, I change to 32. Okay, and that's what I mean by breakpoints. Breakpoint means when it reaches the medium size, it breaks and form a smaller font. And when it reaches the small size, there's always a threshold. The threshold is that breakpoint. It breaks again, and the font changed even smaller. Okay, so that's breakpoint in CSS. When it reaches a breakpoint, basically, it don't just adjust to fit. It changes the size one more step further. So within this module itself, it's so convenient. It gives you 3 breakpoints. You can save, publish, Okay, and now you take a look. As I resize, now this is the iPad size. It still looks okay because the top and bottom both didn't change. So it still fits nicely. But where it goes into iPhone size, when it reaches the iPhone breakpoint, you know it reaches a breakpoint. Okay, you'll see that it reaches the first breakpoint. This is the first breakpoint. Okay, but because I chose this module for large and medium devices to use the same module. So basically it didn't change. And when I reach the next breakpoint, you see, this is a breakpoint. The font changes size immediately and becomes very good for mobile screens. Okay, how good it is, you check it out for yourself. If I go to Microteamer again, and I choose even an iPhone 4. So in other words, I don't want it to just fit. I want to scale it down not professionally. I want to scale it down proportionally. That's what I intend to do. So how do I scale it down? Basically, dependent on screen size, I use breakpoints. So now you see funeral services is exactly in one line instead of two lines. It has been scaled down and aesthetically it matches this a little bit better. Okay, so, and now everything fits nicely. Okay, if I want to be perfect, I would have also changed these two sizes to make sure it fits as well. Okay, these two buttons, if I wanted to be perfect. Okay, but I'm just showing you how you can use the Beaver module itself with minimal touching of Microteamer. You don't have to touch Microteamer because the font color, this is body font color, this is text color. You can use the, what's the thing called? You can change it in the Beaver theme itself. Okay, but it's more convenient to just highlight it with Microteamer and make that change. Okay, so basically, that's the first way. Okay, I'm going to repeat the steps, but I'm not going to show it to you again because it basically takes a while to go from one screen to another. Duplicate this module. Step 1. Assign the top one for large screen. Assign the bottom one for small screen. Okay, and then after that, go to the module. If the module has got breakpoints all set up ready, use the breakpoints in the module. In this case, I basically, since for the overall Beaver, I only have 2 modules, I could jolly well actually duplicate and make 3 modules. 1 module for large screen, 1 module for medium screen, and 1 module for small screen if I wanted to be perfect as well. I could do that and style it accordingly. Okay, then I'll have 3 breakpoints. I'll have 3 breakpoints in my design. Okay, in my case, I took the easy way out. I just have, because I felt that this module only break at the small screen. So basically, I chose to do 2 breakpoints. 1 breakpoint at the handphone size and large and medium to follow one design. So that's what I did. Okay, so since I choose to have duplicate 2 modules, which is what I did, I go to the dual color header module and basically choose 2 different font size, 1 for large screen and 1 for small screen. And the end result is you get a nicely formatted layout that fit nicely, whether it's large screen or it's small screen. Okay, so this is method number 1. Okay, using just Beaver Builder alone. Okay, let me exit from here now. Okay, like I said, I try not to stop for any questions. But so far, I thought, since I talk so much without even asking for feedback, do you understand what I'm trying to say now? Okay, just this time around, can at least 1 or 2 people just reply? I see whether I want to check that maybe it's not a bad connection and I'm actually talking to myself. Everybody okay? Oh dear. is everyone with me? Okay, question added by Anita. Where is... Okay, Nita, I'm also new to this platform, unfortunately. Question added by Anita. Let's see if I can see the question. Where's the question? Let's say if I clear, let me clear the messages. Let me clear all messages first. Okay. Okay, Anita, Lewis, or whoever have questions, can you see and see whether I can see the questions here or not? Can you type your questions again? Apologies for that. Anyone with questions, can you type it again? Question by Anita. Where do I find the question? Okay, for today, I'll try and figure out how do I get the questions. Can we use Telegram to ask questions? Yeah, I'm on my phone now. Hey, Brian, managed to. A side track question for AMP pages. Would you use a plugin to enable AMP or better not? Okay. All this while, I think if you read forums or that, they said that Beaver is compatible with AMP because your content is saved in the default WordPress editor itself. And because it's saved in the default WordPress editor, yes, it's AMP compatible. The key thing is, do you want to use AMP at this point in time? I leave that to you. Okay, because yes, Google is trying to push AMP very hard. Okay, but at this stage, a lot of websites are still not on AMP, so I think it's very safe not to be on AMP. Okay, that's my personal opinion. For those of you who do not know what AMP is, it's accelerated mobile pages. Accelerated mobile pages, that's what it says. Okay, I'm not sure why Brian is able to ask questions, but the rest of you, I can't see the questions. So Anita, are you able to use Telegram or something? Or okay, for those of you, if your questions don't pop up, you can ask by Telegram. I'll still be happy to be able to answer. Okay, Louis, are you there? Do you have a question as well? Louis Tang added a question. Why is it that the only question that I can see is Brian's question? Let's say if I click Anita, what do I see? Okay, Anita said, I didn't add a question, just a... Oh, yes, I can hear you. Okay. Sorry, Anita. Thanks. Apologies for that. Okay, anyone with a question? I don't know, because it popped out a question. Okay, if no questions, let's proceed. If Louis, you have a question, just use Telegram and text me as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on. Where am I now? Okay, so it's not visibility option. My apologies. Let's get it correct. Responsive option. Okay, so responsive option, understand what is breakpoint. Breakpoint is that point preset whereby, basically it moves from one font size perhaps or one size into another size, like what I showed you just now. That's the breakpoint. Okay, the next thing I'll talk about is stacking order. Okay, before we move out of Beaver. For stacking order, I want to show you another website. Okay, this website, I've not made any changes yet. So I made a duplicate copy of it. It's basically the resource page of our actual website. So if you go to our actual website, you will see this page. Okay, this is just a duplicate on my local host. Okay, but basically you'll see this page which I tried to be a bit fanciful. What do you mean by try to be a bit fanciful? Basically, I tried to make, for example, how to install WordPress here, followed by the WordPress video. So the next one, rather than have all the words here, I basically did it in such a way that I said how to install Activate WordPress themes. And then the YouTube video comes here instead. So you see, I staggered word, video, followed by word this side, and then video. So aesthetically, I'm not the best in laying out design. I thought it's nicer than if I were to have all videos on one side and all words on the other side. So it looks nice, to me at least, okay? Until you try to resize it. What happens? Can you see how to install? Then the video here, that's fine. But then, how to install and activate the theme? The video is on top. It confuses people. So basically, when I see how to install and activate a theme, I will expect to see a video below, but I don't. And then it's on top, it confuses. And then here again, it's like that. How to install WordPress plugins. And then after that, video, 2 videos, and then how to publish a page or post. So it looks a bit off, unfortunately, when I resize the screen. Again, this is a problem. Okay. This is a stacking order problem that can happen when you basically switch from desktop to mobile. Okay, you are likely to have this problem as well, so I thought I'd teach you how to handle it here. Under Page Builder, you will see, okay, there is this thing called Edit Column. So the first one works fine because it's install first followed by video. Okay, but for this, the stacking order, I want to reverse it. In other words, I want the word to be here first, how to install Activate Themes before the video. Okay, so what I do is I click this and I click column setting. So edit column, I repeat, followed by column settings. Under column settings is again in advanced. There is a section for responsive layout again, which is called stacking order. So I simply reverse the stacking order and I click save. Okay. When I do that, okay, you'll see now it's nice. How to install WordPress? Video. How to install Activate Theme? The video. How to install WordPress again? Sorry, how to install plugin? Video. And then again, obviously this guy, I have to change the stacking order again. That's all. Okay. So I've been meaning to do this video for a while. Okay, but I thought since today when I talk about responsive, that's the best time to do. And the reason why I didn't change Awesome Sites till now, having known that this is a problem, is because I wanted you can go and see Awesome Sites. If there's a fault in our design, it is this at this point in time. So you can go there and see the actual site is still not been changed. I haven't changed it yet. Okay, but again, why didn't I use the live awesome site to do this demo? Okay, is the best practice. Don't touch your live website. If I screw up anything here, it's perfectly fine. Okay, because this is just a local host. So do such changes on your local host. Now, can you see? Example, how to install WordPress? Video. How to install theme? Then the video. How to install plugin? Then the video. How to publish a page of posts? Then the video. How to set up navigation? Then the video. Okay, and then again, this one I have to reverse stacking order again. Yeah, I won't go reverse all. I think you get the picture, you get the drift. So eventually, if I do the stacking order properly for those that I need to reverse the stacking order, then even for mobile now, I will have a beautifully laid out page. And once I'm happy, click publish changes. That's all. Okay, I didn't do all, but I think it's good enough as a demo for you to understand. In other words, you don't have to stick to the same order between desktop and mobile. You can reverse the stacking order. And that's what I did. Okay, so now, how to install WordPress? Nice. How to install Activate Themes? Nice. How to install plugin? Nice. How to publish page and post? Nice. Okay. How to set up navigation? Nice. Okay. Obviously, I have to change the stacking order for this one, which I didn't. And this one will be nice again. And then after that, the whole responsive layout will look decent. I'll use the word decent. Okay, so that's how, I say again, that's how you play with stacking order. Okay, sometimes you'll need it because on mobile, the original stacking order may look weird, just like in our case. That's when you change the stacking order. So again, this is another example to show that, you know, things that work nicely on desktop, don't assume it works nicely on mobile. Okay, so this is actually more important for most of you than for me, because all my websites that I built, you know, I've told you all in the preview and all that, I own it. I build, I own, I just lease it out. I'm still the landlord. But if you are taking a web design contract, you basically sign a contract to build a functional website for someone else. That person owns the website. You're supposed to deliver the website. And so, you know, basically, you need to know all this. It's more important for you than for me, actually. Okay, so please take note. Please know how to do it. So within Beaver, it's got wonderful responsive options. Okay, take note of how to use them. You can choose different screen sizes and outwards. Okay, multiply different modules, or you can use breakpoint. Okay, and there's also the option of stacking order. Okay, so that is Beaver Builder within Beaver itself. Let's look at CSS. Yeah, I already show you what I mean by just because it's responsive, just because it fits the screen, doesn't mean the dimensions look correct. That's why you have to first ensure that everything fits, and secondly, ensure that you use breakpoint to make it aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so that's what I mean, and I'm going to show it to you now using those picture modules. And now it's the info box. Okay, now we have styled everything, but we didn't style the info box yet. If I resize, you'll see my info box look weird. A lot of space here and no space here. Okay, unfortunately, info box is something which you can't just use breakpoint. Unlike words, in words, breakpoint work very well because as the screen goes smaller, you want the words to go smaller. So you can define a smaller font size for a smaller breakpoint. So it works perfectly well if you're playing with words, you see. So I want it to be small, okay, just like this example, when the screen size gets smaller. Okay, so it works perfectly well for words. For pictures, or rather info box is different, because what the theme does is that as you squeeze it here from 3 column, it becomes, when it hits the breakpoint, which is here, 3 column become 1 column, and when it become 1 column, this box become bigger, which means you want this image all of a sudden not to appear smaller, but to appear bigger in order to fit. Okay, for words, it goes smaller and smaller is fine, but for all these images, sometimes when you do mobile responsive, it moves from 3 column to 1 column, and you want a big column now. And if you want a big column, you want a big image. Okay, so by using breakpoint to restyle that, you might run into problems. Okay, so that's what you are going to do, or that's what we are going to do now. And I'll use MicroThemer to show you how to do it. Okay, before that, I think there are some questions on Telegram. I'll take a look at Telegram and try and see what I can answer. Oh, thanks, Ethan. Ethan is not asking a question. He's saying that if any one of you cannot use computer audio, maybe use your phone or your tablet. Okay, thanks, Ethan. Sorry. Okay, you have 2 means to ask me questions, either on Telegram, or ask me on here, like Brian, what Brian did. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to remove 1 module. I'm going to remove the second module. Okay. Personally, this was not the option that I choose, by the way, to fix the website. Okay. Why I didn't like this option myself is because I don't want my back end to have 2 modules of the same type. I can get confused as well. Okay. But this is the option for those of you who do not have MicroThemer. At least there is an option for you. So it's not my preferred option. Okay. My preferred option. Okay. I'll show you how to do it now for my preferred option. Okay, this is now my preferred option. Oh yeah, I should go page builder again, reset everything. My preferred option is to use MicroThemer. So I don't bother. Okay. So this is the module. So 90% of things, I just use MicroThemer and I fixed it. Okay. In other words, I won't go to responsive option and put large and medium device only, since I only have 1 module. Because if I put large and medium device only, when I reach small devices, okay, I haven't published change yet. The moment I publish change, when I reach a small device, I won't have a heading at all. This image totally disappear. It doesn't display on the small screen. Okay, so what I will do is I will choose all devices. I will keep it at all devices. Always, in other words. Always show this module, nothing but this module. Okay. What I didn't mind doing, was to use this and perhaps restyle this to maybe 38 and 32. That's what I actually did. Okay, because this is so easy. It's within here, yeah, and it didn't give me a headache. Okay, headache in what sense? It's still 1 module. It still looks nice. My front end and my back end still is okay. So I don't mind. The only trouble I have now is when I publish change, which I'm going to show you now. When I publish change, you see, what happens is the size here drops, but the beaver text didn't drop. Remember, this is from Ultimate Add-on, I believe. They gave me a chance to have 3 breakpoints, and I used the 3 breakpoint to choose 3 different font sizes. So my heading actually dropped in size, but unfortunately, my body text didn't drop in size until the 2 appear of the same size. That's no good. Okay, That's no good. So what do? I use MicroTeamer. Okay. Instead of using Beaver Builder to set the breakpoints, I simply use MicroTeamer to set the breakpoints. So how to use MicroTeamer? I just go to MicroTeamer. MicroTeamer has got this guys here: large, desktop, phone, tablet, and phone. This is where you can set your breakpoints. Okay, let it load first. For example, I can resize to large devices. It looks perfect, so it's okay. I go to desktop. Okay, if I see, okay, this has already resized. This is now 38, it's no longer 48. But proportionately, if I can accept it, then I'll leave it. Okay, if I feel that I need to resize, then I resize. Okay, so if I'm going to resize at this screen, because the header has already resized from 48 to 38, the header resized because the native module of this dual color allows me to set the breakpoints within the module itself, so it's already resized. But this text module, I can't do that. So what do? I just basically set it to that breakpoint that I want. Target, this guy, and then the font size, I choose something, maybe 18, now 23, let's see, or maybe 20. Let's see, if I choose 20, it's smaller. If I think it's okay, I leave it as it is. Okay, this size, let's say I put it at 18, maybe 20 again. Yep, it looks okay to me. And then for the small screen, for the small devices, like let's say for example my iPhone, obviously to me this is too big. So again, for my last breakpoint, which is this one, I can resize it maybe to 18. So any size smaller than this, in other words, the text gets smaller. So now on my iPhone 4, I think it's more proportionate now. This and this. So when I do it this way, I don't have to have two different modules. I have one module still and won't confuse myself. So MicroTeamer is therefore used to set the breakpoints. Okay, that's the first thing that I'll do. In other words, when I set my breakpoints, I also take the trouble to set the breakpoints for these two buttons. Because now you'll notice the thing that looks odd is these two buttons. Okay, this is so small, this is so small, and the service looks big. So I can use the same breakpoints here to resize the buttons. How? Example, I can just target, okay, the buttons if I want to. But instead of targeting one, I target both buttons. Okay. The current font size is 18. Maybe I choose 15. And the font should reduce. Okay, styling now. Yep, it reduced. And then at the final one, if I think 15 is too big, maybe I can put 13. Of, let's say 13. Okay, in the live side, I can't remember exactly how much I used. Yep, it's smaller now. And I can start to look at all screen sizes. On iPhone, it's smaller. I thought it's proportionate. It's okay. Let it pass. On iPhone 5, it looks okay to me. Let it pass. On BlackBerry, looks okay. On Google Nexus, looks okay. On all this phone, then the next screen size on iPhone 6 looks okay. On an even bigger screen size looks okay as well. If I want to move to even bigger, check. iPhone 5 now, it looks okay to me, so on and so forth. Okay, so in other words, I can set on here it's not so good. So I need to set the breakpoint here to change this. $15 maybe. So I have different breakpoints now. Yep. And then everything starts to look proportional again. Okay, so that is how I use MicroTeamer without touching Beaver. So in other words, I don't even have to touch Beaver. MicroTeamer can do all these things for you. Okay, next. This guy, a little bit more tricky. Okay, the first thing I did when faced with this situation was I went to the breakpoints and take a look. The first breakpoint on large screen is okay. The second breakpoint, I noticed the image ran already. Can you see the image basically is larger than the box? So for this breakpoint, I realized, in other words, for the large screen, okay, let's target this first, then you can see. Let's target this element. Okay, I want all 12, and I have all 12 now. So we have all 12. Now remember I said for CSS, what you should be touching is dimensions. So I'm going to dimensions now. In MicroTeamer, I scroll and I look for dimensions. This padding margin, this dimensions. Can you see? Dimensions. So I find dimensions, I click the dimensions. When I click the dimension, I know that this module, at this moment, the width is 308. If I don't change, it's 308. Okay? If I don't change, it's 308. If I go to a smaller screen size, it's still 308. If I go to even smaller screen size, it's still 308. So what it tells me is that 308 only works nice on the large screen to fit this box. Okay? Large desktop, still okay. But the moment I go to around tablet size, the desktop and tablet size, 308 is too big already. I need something smaller. When I go to this size, I need it bigger again. So I want to know what is the maximum size I need. So I play with this. For example, because this is as big as it'll go. Because I go to iPhone, for example, the last one is still the same size. So I can play with it. Example, if 308 is too small, I put 320. And see how the image grows. You see, it grows a bit, but not enough. Put 330. Not enough. Then I put 340. Let's try. To me, 340 looks just nice. So I know that in the small screen, example, in all devices, I need 308. Here, I need 308. Here, I need smaller than 308 because it overlaps. So I need smaller than 308. But the largest this photo has to be is 340. Okay, because 340 fits nicely here, as you can see, and 340 fits nicely here as well once it refresh finish. Okay, so in other words, I know this photo has to grow in size until 340 and no larger than 340. 340 is the max. So by doing this test, I know I have to bring it to 340. Then I delete this. I don't want to use breakpoints. Because if I use breakpoint, I start confusing. Okay, it goes from large to small and then back to large again. It will spoil your responsive look. So I just want to use the breakpoint function just to check how big must it grow from. It must grow from 308 to what size? You know, the largest possible size for the largest possible box. And I already found out that it is 340. So once I know it's 340, I just delete it. I don't need it here. I delete it as well. Okay, I delete it. After deleting all this, what I did was, okay, basically, I went back to all device. I'm still targeting, by the way, just show you again. I'm still targeting these 12 images. So I'm going to target again to show you. It's still just these 12 images I'm targeting. Okay, I'm still on dimensions. I now know my width, okay, shouldn't be 308 because 308 is too small for those sizes where after the breakpoint you resize to one module only. When one module, I need it to grow as large as 340. So I put it as 340. Okay, so my width becomes 340, but the moment I put 340, guess what happens? It overshots here because here 308 is just nice. Okay, here 308 is just nice. So, but I don't mind. I just put it as 340. So I said the largest I can grow is 340. But I set a max here. Okay, the beauty about CSS nowadays is that you do not need to put a pixel size. I don't have to put 340 or anything under max. I can put 100%. So in other words, I can say max 340, no problem. But no matter what, the maximum it'll grow is 100% of the box. That's about it. And for height, I put it to auto. Okay, so that is the setting I use. 340, 110, oops, and height auto. Why? Because if I basically set this picture to scale, I want to have the same dimension. I want the height to scale proportionately, so I set it to auto. So when this scales, the height will scale proportionately. Okay, so now I simply go and take a look at my handiwork when it grows. Small screen size, or I can even see at the various breakpoint first. At this breakpoint, it's still nice. Here it drops, and now it's here. It can go as low as 200 plus. I don't care because I have the 100% to control it, so it still looks nice. At the tablet now it goes to 340 because why? Here controls can go up to 340, no problem. But max is still 100%, and it looks nice. And for iPhone, for phone, it's still 340. It looks nice. If I want to double confirm, I just go to every screen size. Look, okay. Next screen size. Look, okay. Sorry, I should be going to first screen size. iPhone 4. Even in iPhone 4, how small it is, it looks okay. iPhone 5, a bit bigger, looks okay. Let's say I go to iPhone 6, even bigger. It still looks okay. Okay, if I go to the next bigger size screen, it still looks okay. The dimensions are here. The next bigger size is 414. It still looks okay. 480, it still looks okay. 500 plus onwards, it'll continue to look okay. 56, 600, all the way until 640, 700 plus, no, 800, okay, until the largest possible screen. Everything looks fine. Okay, so that's why I said without MicroTeamer, that night would have been hell for me. Thankfully with this, basically I changed it pretty fast and I could text my client and tell him, check again. Everything is now perfectly aligned. Okay, so once I've done everything, I simply put storefront, site front, okay, changes done. feel happy for myself that a website that initially wasn't aligned is now perfectly aligned for all screen sizes. Okay, so a bad experience for me, yes, but the good thing is you saw how quickly it was for me to fix it. Okay, if I didn't have the necessary tools, okay, even if let's say Jackson is the one handling it at 3 a.m. in the morning and he go and write all the CSS codes just to solve this, he will not be able to solve with just 3 clicks. That's what I did. A few clicks and everything is solved. Yeah, I do not know why PowerPack didn't make the pictures responsive. Okay. I mean, maybe in the next update of the plugin, it will be responsive, perhaps, and you don't even have to do this. But at the moment, it was not. Okay, but whether it is, whether it's not, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, basically, to me, this is a lifesaver. Okay. So, back to here, understand CSS. Okay, why do I say understand CSS concept? Because very simple. Even you have MicroThemer, you didn't know about dimensions, you will not be able to solve this problem. MicroThemer has got so many different controls, you don't know where to click. So in a way, it's good that you have a basic understanding of CSS. Okay. At 3 a.m. in the morning, I can't ask anyone for help. Yeah. The only reason why I could solve it and solve it so fast is because I have a good understanding of CSS. I don't have to write the codes. In today's world, you don't have to write the codes, but you need to know where to click. And this understanding gives you, I understood, basically, I need to ensure dimension fits. I need to play a breakpoint. And once I do these two things, I will have a nice, responsive website. Okay. So once all this is done, basically, to me, the next thing is I text my client, I say, check it. Okay. As for myself, I'm going to sleep already. It's too late. And that's what I did. Okay. At the end of it all, you'll see that, yeah, I just want to highlight this again, even though I said it previously, even if you are using localhost, it is prudent to migrate from localhost to your live staging environment and check everything is working before migrating it finally to live. And in that process, make sure you have a backup in case something goes wrong. If you don't know how to create a live staging environment, watch the video that I posted on live staging environment. Then you'll be able to create that live staging environment. Alternatively, if you want to, you can buy maybe a hosting plan from SiteGround, the most expensive plan. One click gives you a staging environment, but you end up paying more. Okay. Sometimes, if you are going to professional web design, you might want to have that big plan because that big plan allows you to host more websites, so on and so forth. Okay, and then you can create a staging environment with just one click. So there's nothing wrong with that. But for those of you who are not ready to invest in a big plan yet, watch my video on how to create that live staging environment, and then you'll be okay. Okay, so in this day and age, 50%, most of my websites, I give you statistics, 50% of people will come in with mobile devices. When I first started on the internet, almost everyone served the web with just a desktop. You just have to have a site that fits the desktop well. Unfortunately, today, mobile. And also, that's the reason why Google say your site must be mobile friendly. Beaver itself is actually mobile friendly already, but Beaver is not perfect. Okay, and the add-ons are not perfect, like what I showed you today. So therefore, in conclusion, you have to check. The best practice, like I said again, if I go back here, is to check against all browser type and to check against all screen sizes. Okay, once you do that, you are okay. Once you do that and you realize that the site is not functioning well, who cares? You have a lot of time to change. You know, if you are just in localhost or in live staging environment. If you are already live already like me that night, okay, at least, thankfully, I knew what I was doing, so it was pretty fast for me to fix it. But if you do not know what you are doing at that point in time, you panic. Okay, last but not least, okay, at the end of it all, I wanted to tell you all this message. Remember, when I conducted a workshop, I've been saying you can use these skills to make money. You can use these skills to make money. The only reason why you should be learning, other than building a website for yourself, is to make money. I know Anita, she has told you all as well. The last batch you heard, she's already started. She's already got 3 clients. She's already making money. What about the rest of you? Right? Some of you are. Okay, maybe you did not update me, and that's good. Okay, but it also means that you therefore need to know how to handle mobile responsive as well. And that's why I'm doing this webinar tonight. But at the same time, some of you might not have even got started yet. So I urge you, please get started. Okay, please basically make it a point to put these skills into practice. That's how you're going to earn money. Okay, Anita was fast. Samir is fast too. His site, basically his company website to do web design is up already. Okay, basically 1 day or 2 days after a course, they take action. So the tools are there, the skill set is there. I'll continue to guide you. This is not going to be the last webinar I'll do. And each webinar I'll give you something that is useful and that is practical that you can use in the world of web design to make a living and to make good money. But you really, really have to take that action and put it into practice. If you don't feel competent enough yet, the only way you can feel competent is practice. Start by building your company website first. That's what Samir did. When you build that first website, you realize it's not difficult. Perhaps if I didn't do this responsive portion of the webinar today, you might be able to build a perfect desktop. But when it comes to mobile, it might break down. But today, you have no reason. Okay, no reason at all not to be able to handle mobile. So if you can handle desktop and you can handle mobile now, don't let anything else stop you. Build your first website, make money. Okay, you have more updates from me. I'm trying to plan a live session. Initially, I wanted to plan a live session, to teach you all basic WooCommerce. Then I saw one of you already posted. I'm happy about how to do WooCommerce setup. So I'm toying with whether I still want to do basic WooCommerce setup in that live session if I manage to get a room from Fabian. Or maybe should I teach you all, have a live session where I teach you all how to acquire customers. Because after you build a first website, some of you may have your ready clients ready, but some of you will want to know how to acquire customers. So maybe I'll make that the topic of the live session. Okay, I'm still toying between the two. You can give me your opinion on Telegram as well if you want to, on which I should cover, but I probably will not be able to take a live training room too many times. Okay, so I hope today's webinar is useful. I'm going to end by asking whether you all have any questions, and I'll go to the question screen again. Does anybody have any questions? MicroTeamer can edit 15 before purchase full version, right? Yes, the answer is right. And that's why for those of you who don't have it, I'm still basically, I showed you how to use Beaver to, Beaver has its own solutions as well. So you can use Beaver to handle mobile responsive, But if you have MicroTeamer, like Anita and the rest, with basically everything on it, then yeah, if you want to really make this a career, then you need the full version, unfortunately. If not, then the reason why in this webinar I showed you 2 ways to do it, with Beaver and with MicroTeamer, is because if you don't have the full version, at least there's no reason why you don't know how to handle mobile responsive still. Okay, but you saw how easy it is with MicroTeamer. Okay, you won't be perhaps in that position of 3 a.m. in the morning like myself. Okay, so maybe you'll have time. But even in times when things look so bad, MicroTeamer just comes and saves the day. So yeah, it's one of the tools that you really must have if you want to make this a business, web design a business. Any other questions? MicroTeamer, can we fix the width to auto instead of fix all to 340 and then max 100%? Okay, the answer is at the end of the day, okay, basically it is you can't auto both. You either auto the height or you auto the width. You auto both, then what you auto. What we are trying to tell is basically, you know, we control the width. What we are trying to tell, okay, John, what we are trying to tell the browser is we want to take control of the width. Okay, but as for height, I want you to use the original dimension size. As I control width, I make the width smaller or larger, you change the height automatically. You auto both, yeah, as good as telling as good as telling the browser, you know, do nothing. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, great. John, anything else? Any other question? How to solve if website looks different on different browser? Okay, unlikely a website will look different on different browser. I actually gave you this as a best practice only for one particular browser. That browser is Microsoft Explorer. Somehow that one might look bad, unfortunately. Okay, so eventually, yes, I will want to know if it looks bad. I can still use MicroTeamer to restyle it. The easiest is to use MicroTeamer. Of course, you can go and build different modules, all that, like I said, within Beaver backend itself. Okay, why I don't like that solution and why I didn't use that for my live website is that today, when I do it, I can remember, I can remember I have 2 duplicate modules. 6 months or 1 year later, I might forget, and then I'll start trying to ask myself when I go to my back end, what am I trying to do? So that's the reason why, it's not my preferred solution, but you can use it. Okay, so the main problem you normally have, and there's a different set of rules actually for IE, Internet Explorer. The good news is that you own enough websites, you'll see that hardly anyone uses IE nowadays. The main browsers, at least for people who come to my website, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, and they normally behave pretty well. Okay, so Jiaxing, I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? No problem, welcome, thanks. Any other question? Okay, if no questions, if some of you already start building websites for clients, what I will do tonight, if I already got websites for clients, is I'll go and do all those resizing and check whether those websites are behaving properly, because your client, the day you deliver, could be looking at it from a desktop only. Another day, another of his client may be using a mobile phone to check the website and may send him a screenshot and tell him, hey, by the way, your site looks good on desktop, but on mobile phone, it breaks apart. Okay, so your client might not have flagged it out to you yet, unlike my client, but they may flag out to you later on. So before they even flag out, if it's me, I will go and make that check. I'll make sure that it's okay. And when it's okay, if it's not okay, to fix it within these few days. Okay, for those of you who are already building websites for others, if it's your own website, it doesn't really matter, like I said, but I'll still fix it. I tell you why. Because when you fix, you practice. When you practice, you remember. Okay, any other question? I remember you mentioned we can only make 10 changes to MicroTeamer. Means there's a limit for the change, yes. Okay, which is why that was Jiaxing's question. I can't remember 10 or 15. After that, you can't use it anymore. Okay, so that's why I showed you how to use Beaver itself. How to use Beaver itself to make the changes. And that's why you see, okay, in this webinar, I said 2 options. Use Beaver or use CSS. Okay, CSS, I mean microthemer, because to write CSS codes, you have to learn another language. So that's why today I give two options, because I'm mindful that some of you do not have microthemer. Okay, but if you want to go into web design business, yes, you really need microthemer. If you're just building a website for yourself, okay, then basically, if you don't have microthemer, use Beaver. Okay, what I will do if you don't have microthemer, I'll use Beaver, and I will avoid modules that don't behave. So I'll play the demo module first, and don't behave, don't. And then just stick to Beaver and use Beaver breakpoint that I showed you just now. Have duplicate modules. Okay, there's no other way. Can, John? No problem. Any other question? Okay, if there are no questions for today, okay, then okay, basically we are still on air. I'm still recording, so I just want to tell everyone thank you for coming, and till we meet again on the next webinar on the live training that I'm planning to arrange. Okay, so oh yeah, what? Oh, no problem, Wai Ming, no problem. Important is that you all understand the lessons. Okay, so thank you for coming. Okay, hopefully this helps. Okay, to me this is a very important topic. Okay, not just because I myself got caught by it, but yeah, and thanks for coming. Okay, welcome Ethan. Okay, thanks Brian. Thank you everyone. I'll switch off the recording first.